Senator Nancy Charles.
Good morning again to everyone this morning. Let me join my colleagues in welcoming Madam President, members of your family who are here. And let me also take this opportunity to welcome our students who are visiting with us. I'm sure by now you would have seen and heard how this session works. And I hope, as perhaps my colleagues have encouraged you to enjoy St. Lucia, we do have some festivities happening in the coming days, and I hope that those of you who will or choose to can participate in them. Madam President, Mr. Deputy President, is that correct? Okay, forgive me if I get it wrong. Mr. Deputy President, I do consider it an honor to be here today again and perhaps to stand and to speak on some of the matters of interest in this country. To be honest, I did not intend to speak on this motion being presented here today. And I grew up with my grandmother. And my grandmother always said to me, "Super hadi bien padi mal." So I would not have been the one to stand up and to criticize such a policy position to a certain extent, although I do see certain flaws within it. But I felt that after listening to my colleague and my very good friend, who's also from my constituency, that perhaps there are a few things that I need to remind her and members of. Mr. Deputy President, I want to say to you that 2 years is a very, very, very long time. 2 years, it is 24 months, and it is 730 days. And so, I did not calculate the second. But 2 years is a very long time. And so for the member to stand up here and make it seem as if 2 years is just yesterday. Ipakosa. All right? Segwa munanya baikado yoru suyon bu ba okuho dia pour 2 years pour delania. C'est pas de kou kay pour de la peut-être tout pas même survive. So 2 years is a very, very, very long time. And I also want to remind the member that in March of 2023, we presented a 6-point plan, did we not?
Yes, we did.
And what is it that the government said? They throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
They did not want to hear anything from us. Okay?
Right.
So we have been trying to contribute to the development of this country, but they threw our 6-point plan in the bin. Exodia gade kote nuye.
And it did say to
Okay? Gade kote nuye. And in our 6-point plan, we spoke about VAT.
Right.
Okay? Mr. Deputy President, I don't know if you remember, but just about 2 years ago, which is not a very long time, there was a very, very popular phrase all over the place. You know what it was? People don't eat roads. Major dia, yo, look at them. People don't eat plywood. People don't eat cement. People don't eat lumber. Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know why we had that road package happening in this country, Mr. Deputy President? Because we recognize that road construction, and especially some of the small contractors that we brought in to undertake that road construction, that it would stimulate the same economic activity that they are talking about today.
The truckers.
The truckers were getting work.
The backhoe
owners were getting work. Excavators were getting work. Places like Wheel Rock, which is from the south, was getting work because we needed the materials. Even contractors today, our famous contractor, Mr. Reno, was getting work. And people were being employed. You know what was happening as well? When these guys who were working on the roads, when they got their pay packet, you know where the first place they ran to? Well, some of them went to the rum shop. But these people sell, they need their money too. They have to drink a little beer or whatever. But most of them went home and their wives, girlfriends, or whoever it is, you know where they went? To the supermarket. Right. To buy what? Food. And you tell me people don't eat roads? People don't eat roads? But with this stimulus package, there's no direct money that is taken and given to those people to go to the supermarket. Are you aware of that? It is expected that if you were probably going to pay $200 for a sheet of plywood, now when you buy one, you'll get a savings of $10 and you can use that. But let me tell you something, sir. Super need $200 la pour get a sheet plywood who still pass again. Even if you bring a sheet of plywood down to $10 and people don't have $10 in their pocket, they can't buy it.
That's right.
So,
that's the point.
Whilst I said I have no objection to this policy in principle, but here's where I'm going to tell you. And even before I go there, about the people don't eat roads. The member mentioned about the housing repair program. If I was the member, I would have Madisa. That's an embarrassment. The picture in every single St. Lucian mine is 2 little greenhouses in Dennery with no toilet, no bathroom, nothing.
That's right.
Absolutely nothing. But I have to say something. I see my parliamentary representative is here, and I have to give him that as well, that he did a housing program in my constituency up in Grace, and it was a model, so hats off to him. But you know what I want to say to him today? Take some pictures and show it to your colleague in the Ministry of Housing and show him what a housing repair program should look like. But Madam, Mr. Deputy, you see that housing program that my colleague on the other side speak of? When you're driving up the road or down the road from Dennery, ipani bathroom, ipani toilet, koyo ka pise, koyo ka kaka, ektiba ila piti telma, when de la yo couche di da depi yo ka ped pandoa. 2 little things and you talk about housing repair program. I mean, come on. If you want to take people out of poverty, you have to do it properly. If you did not have money to do a housing repair program, perfect.
That's right.
Don't do it. But if you're going to do it properly.
That's right.
Okay? So I am all for a housing repair program. But at the end of the day, let's move on. And then she speaks about the poor housing conditions of people. I grew up with my grandparents in a 1-bedroom house. They slept in the bedroom and I slept in the living room. I had my little cabin like everybody else. You sleep. When you wake up in the morning, you roll it up, put it to dry if you were peeing in bed, and put it in the house. I slept on it too. And I grew up in a house with no electricity and no water as well. My grandfather was one of those persons who dig all the roads to run the pipes. At that time, they were paying persons to dig pipes to run water in Greece. My grandfather did that. All right, so I know about this. And for me, the way to get people out of poverty is to create economic activity, generate jobs so they have money in their pocket, so they can actually go and buy plywood, cement, galvanized blocks, and to build a house.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, Mr. Deputy and President, if these people are not working, you see these people we talk about, those poor people, what is it that we are seriously doing about lifting these people out of poverty?
That's right.
So you want to remove VAT on 2 sheets of plywood. And if they have 2 sheets of plywood at the back of the house, that is rotting away. And just for them to be able to afford, maybe they sell a little plantain and a green thing, because these people are not rich, you know, sir. Just in case. These people are more or less a lot of little farmers. They plant little things by the house. Some of them, they did not go to secondary school. They have 2, 3 children, and the circumstances are not so they can't afford like some people can.
That's right.
And so what you're saying to them is just go and buy the same 1 sheet of plywood, TFA shit plywood laki hapu ya. Put one back and you get them out of poverty. That is what gets people out of poverty in this country. And you want to talk about poor people and removing people in poverty? If you want to remove them from poverty, go ahead. Grow the economy. Create substantive positions and policy positions that create jobs and employment. When people have money in their pocket, then they can get out of poverty. Don't give them a fish. Teach them how to fish. And then she also made mention about the 80 plus program. About the 80 plus program. And I thought to myself, in fact, my husband said that to me. He said to me, baby, you know, the Bible says that God gives men. Sorry. God gives men 70 years to live, right? That's what it says in the Bible. And this government is implementing a program that you have to wait 80 years. Bon Dieu ba ou 70. Mais gouvernement ka ba ou 80. Tout temps ou pa ive 80. You cannot benefit anything in terms of healthcare from this government, and they tell you they implement an 80 plus program. So half of the population dead already by 80, and at the rate we're going is at 20s and 30s, because you see those young people that are dying nowadays. So you have to wait 80 years for you to benefit on an 80 plus program, and then they call that doing something for the people. And let me tell you something, sir. I can certainly tell you, I don't know about other areas, but I can speak for my area. 90% of the medication that they need when they go and see the doctor, because the healthcare has always been for free. Don't think it's anything new, sir. Healthcare in the health centers, every Wednesday, there is a doctor that comes up to the health center. Well, you have to go there 6 o'clock to get a number to make sure that you can see. But you see the doctor for free. Then the doctor gives you a little prescription, and then you have to wait for the pharmacist to come up. And then when you go to the pharmacist, if the doctor gives you a prescription for 4 things, one alone you get in. Un seul. Pharmacie a pas jamais ni pièce oui met by say go moun sala. And so they have to get one medication from the pharmacy. Then they have to pay that $2.50 to go to Viewfort, and then go to Total Healthcare, Massey or wherever to try and see if they can get the rest of the medication at $80 and $90 and $100. That is what you call an 80 plus program. If this program is to be effective, first of all, I would recommend that you reduce it. The age of retirement in St. Lucia is going to be is 65. So do it at 65, because we know the retirement money, the little caca that you get from NIC, is barely able to help you. All right? So do it at 65. And secondly, ensure that the necessary medications are available in the pharmacies, so that when these elderly folks go and see the doctor, they can get the medication for free. Then you can say you have an 80 or 65 plus program. But right now, as it is lipstick, as my colleague call it. Lipstick, you put it on it. So, Mr. Deputy President, as I said, I welcome it. But if you don't have money, you can't afford it. And as my colleague said, this is nothing new. This has been done before. But did it work? And my colleague asked the question, and the senator asked the question. Yes, we have evidence that it did not work. Do you know what's the evidence that it did not work? Because under Kenny Anthony, during these years, we had straight with, what did we call it? Economic decline?
That's right. Recession.
Economic recession? Right. So did it stimulate the economy? No. Because when you look at the books and when you look at the growth rate, we had economic decline. So if it was something that would have ensured that we rebounded, then you would have seen it. So that is the guide that I use, because it's an economic stimulus program. And if the economy did not grow, then to my mind, that's my perception, to my mind, if the economy did not grow, then it did not work. And perhaps why did it not work? Because even if, as I said, even if you bring down the price of a shit, and it was at 41%. This time we're giving only 12.5%. And we have COVID, we have high unemployment, we have people who have no money, and etc. At that time, at 41%, people could not afford it as they should. You think this time they would be able to afford it? You think this time they would be able to afford it? This is not a policy for the poor people of St. Lucia, and I can say that.
That's right.
This is a policy for persons who can afford, for those who continue to have, and this is a policy not for the have-nots, but for the have. So if you have money, you can afford it. If you're working, you can go to your credit union, you can go to your bank, and I would encourage you to do that. As my friend said, go to the credit union, go to the bank, take a mortgage, take a loan, fix up your house. The hurricane season is upon us, fix up your house. But for me, in those economic times, to me, the government should perhaps maybe take some of the money, which I will speak about a little later on in the other bill, and maybe buy a couple of bundles of plywood and go around the constituency and the communities and look under your housing program, increase your housing program, and help people to fix their house for the upcoming hurricane season. Buy your deshit plywood, buy your deshit galvanese, buy your glue, buy your titak cement, titak sab block, whatever it is it's needed to fix their house, because the hurricane season is coming. And so, like my colleague, this is not enough. Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy President.